Alright, hi there. My name is Zick3, and this is going to be what I'm going to call the comprehensive glitch guide to speedrunning Owlboy. Basically, as time goes on, I'm wanting to make routing videos for how to speedrun Owlboy. And there can be a lot of, the run consists of a lot of glitches and a lot of terminology to refer to those glitches. So I wanted, instead of having to explain it throughout the routes of every video, every time a glitch happens, this is going to be a video that is a good reference guide for if you need to refresh on a glitch or if you're unsure about a certain glitch. Whenever it's referred to, you can come back to this video, click one of the timestamps below and say, oh right, that's how you do that glitch, that's how you do that one. So we're gonna get into it right here. The first thing I want to show off is the text storage. Now this is, it's barely worth going for anymore. I mean, it doesn't hurt to go for it, but it's not ever something you'd reset over. Basically at the start of the game here, when you leave the house, you are supposed to go talk to Asio, and he will, you enter a little cutscene where he talks to you for a couple seconds. When you fly up to him, the frame you land, if you also hit the talk button, you can actually talk to him, which will trigger a different dialogue from later in the game, and it kind of confuses the game and allows you to just walk away from the cutscene. Again, it doesn't really save a whole lot of time, but it doesn't hurt going for in a run. So off to start here, I'm going to fly, and as soon as I land, I want to try and hit the talk button. It's just like that. Normally you'd be stuck up there till he flies away, but you can just fly around. Now something to note, this game can be speedrun on keyboard and mouse or controller. I personally play on controller, a lot of people play on keyboard and mouse. It's really up to preference. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. I'm going to try and refer to all controls as what they're used for, so eat, talk, shoot, grab, etc. So whether you're on keyboard or controller, whether you've rebound your controls, you know what buttons I'm talking about. But yeah, so that was text storage. Again, it's very minuscule, but it's not visually apparent what's going on, so I wanted to go over that real fast. So moving on, we're going to be talking about food zips, and this is the bulk of it. And I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try to make this not sound confusing, because they're visually confusing. The terminology for them is very confusing. So, but they're actually very simple to do. So I'm going to try my best here. So, what is a food zip? Well, I'm just going to show one off right now, just so you can see what I mean by a zip. Suddenly I went from inbounds by a piece of fruit to out of bounds here, running around. So, how did I do that? Well, it's pretty simple actually. Basically, if you've played the game, you know that there is a grab button. For me, that is L2. On keyboard mouse, that would be left click. And there is an eat button when you have the food in your hand. If you're hovering over a piece of food with both those buttons held, and you release them at the same time while over a piece of food, you see when the grab command's up, you know you're close enough. Release them at the same time. It can be a little tricky on controller. Pull down, let go. You'll go sailing off in a direction. Now, you see we're still staring at the food. If you press the grab button again, it will snap the camera back to where you are, wherever the zip sent you. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's our ticket to anywhere. I mean, there's no limits at this point. So there's many different ways you can control a zip. As you saw there, I was facing right when I did the zip, and I ended up out of bounds on the left by that owl. What if I want to face left into a zip? Snap the camera back to me. I went to a completely different location. So which way you face when you start the zip matters. It depends on that determines where you go. So that's the basic food zip. You release, grab, and eat at the same time. Depending on which way you're facing, you go to a certain place. You can control where you end up in that zip. You could either cancel it early with, as I said before, you can snap the camera to you when you're done with the zip. You can also snap the camera to you partway through the zip, and that will stop you in your tracks. So you can stop halfway. So we'll do the right facing again so we can compare, because when I did a normal right facing, we ended up out of bounds where we could see that owl. So I'm going to try and do a early cancel here, and you'll see right when the zip starts, I'm going to be mashing the grab button, and I usually mash eat at the same time. I don't think you have to, but you'll see as soon as it starts, I want to mash it. If you wait too long, you're just going to complete the zip. You have to do it within the first couple frames of the zip. We're going to zip, and you see by canceling it early, I didn't even go out of bounds. I ended up in a completely different location. Same with the left. We can end up in a completely different location. You see, the left didn't take us out of bounds last time. This time it did. So you almost want to think of them in an arcing motion. So you see that we ended up on the far left by canceling early. If we left it go, it would arc back to the right and we'd end up in bounds. So if that's how you want to visually imagine a food zip, is, you know, from where you start, it's almost like a nice hook. So that was an early cancel. You can also cancel with pressing the up button, because how this works is basically the game thinks you have the food in your hand when you're doing the zip. So if you press up, that would be how you'd eat the food. That's another way you'd be able to eat the food. So when you're doing the zip, if you press up halfway, the game thinks you're eating the food. It'll stop you in your tracks to perform that action. Now, to be careful with an up cancel, if you press up twice, you'll crash the game. More than once, you'll crash the game, because first one eats the food. Any more up inputs just confuses the game. An up cancel is actually how you would do this first zip in a any percent all bosses or 100% run. So you saw where the right facing took us before, very high up. So if I do a zip now and I press up, you see, now I did that a tiny bit early, but you see we're in a completely different spot. This is actually a really bad spot to be in because we're trapped. But that is an up cancel. It's simply release the buttons, press up. And depending on when you press up throughout the zip will matter where you go. If you press it, in this case, if I press it very early, I end up very high up. If I press it kind of later, still early, I will end up lower in a much better position. So that would be a little later, and this is where you'd actually want to be if you were doing a run. Okay, so we've covered early cancels, up cancels, and what direction to face. So the last two forms of control over a zip are the low angle and the turnaround. Why it's called low angle, I don't know. But that's the term that was coined for it. What low angle means is where an up cancel, you press up partway through the zip. And low angle is you're going to be pressing up as the zip starts or within the first couple frames of the zip. So to compare again, we have a normal right facing. There's our owl friend. We have we just saw where the up cancel took us. Down here. Now what if I press up right as I'm doing the zip? we are in a different spot. We ended up still out of bounds on the left, but you see our owl friend isn't there, so we ended up in a different location. It's kind of in between the two. That one isn't, I think it's only used one spot in all runs, so it's really not a common zip, and there's even a safer backup to do it, so that one's not super important to learn until you're really like digging for world record times. The last one, and this one's a little more important, is the turnaround. So basically, when you're doing a zip, you can, so say I'm facing right, I can press left halfway through the zip to change the direction. So you're basically changing the direction of that hook. So if I face right and press left halfway through, now I'm way over here. This is completely different, other side of the map than where we ended up before. Vice versa, you know, left takes us inbounds up here. If I press right after I release these buttons, so I'm going to release L, left trigger, right trigger, face left, tap right, now I'm way over here. Again, completely opposite direction. So those are the basic terms and how to perform them. I hope that was at least understood a little bit. These are really something where it's just, you know, the controls, just you got to dig in and try it because they're actually very simple. And once you know the motions, you go, oh, these, I understand how all this works. And then you'll be able to put things together. You could, when you're doing a zip, you could do a turnaround up cancel. So I could face right, zip, and then go left up. And now I'm way out of bounds here on the right. We've never been here before, so this is a different area. So just, you can combine them. You can do a low angle turnaround. There's all sorts of things. But, you know, at least when you hear a run and you hear somebody say, you know, I'm going to do a, you know, turnaround up cancel here. You go, okay, I know what to do. Press the opposite direction, press the up button. I'm going to do a low angle turnaround. Okay, so I'm going to start with up, press the opposite direction. So that is the basics of food zips. If that was just complete rocket science gibberish, I can always try and release another video going more in depth with the specific food zips of the run. But now I want to get into the next form of out of bounds, which is partner clipping. We're gonna go to Owl Temple for that. There's two different ways you can do a partner clip in this game. I'm going to show one of the more common ones, which will be off of pillars and such. Basically, we're going to be abusing the way that the collider boxes work on these pillars and such to push us out of bounds. So how this is going to work is basically we can summon our partner to us, and you see by summoning our partner off this pillar, the game pushed me up through the roof, and now I can just fly up into the roof and I'm freely out of bounds. It's very simple. But again, it's not something that's when you, I mean, I know when I first saw it, visually you just see someone summon their partner and they're out of bounds. And so you come up here and you're like, you know, why won't this work? I can't get out of bounds. I can't find the spot they use. It's not working. So how you set it up is pretty simple. Basically, on cases like this where we're going to be using a pillar, you're going to line yourself up so I can't go any more left. I'm flat against this pillar. So you're going to jump and push yourself against the ceiling. So I'm flat against the pillar, and now I'm against the ceiling. Now you'll summon your partner to you. You haven't moved anywhere yet. You just summoned your partner to you. Drop down until you can't. So I can't go any lower. Getty is, he's stuck on the collider box of the pillar. Get rid of him. On controller, you can spin him away. On keyboard mouse, you would lower it and then throw him away. So you're gonna jump. I just did on accident. You're gonna jump, flatten against the ceiling, summon your partner, lower till you can't. So I'm stuck. Get rid of your partner. Don't move. Just get rid of your partner. Summon him again. That will always get you through the ceiling on a partner clip. To the roof, down, summon. So you can set that up really easy if you're coming into areas like this. So you can fly into the pillar, jump, summon, down, up, and you're through the roof. It's a very simple, very easy setup. Now you can always just kind of go for it, engage it, and see if you make it through. But that's only going to save you, you know, half a second. So it's good to just line it up like that, and especially it's advantageous against sitting here trying to guess where the spot is and hope you get through. But that is the gist of partner clips. Anytime you hear someone reference a partner clip, if they're using a pillar like this, you'll know how to do it. And there's not a good save point. I don't really have a good save point for... I might. Hold on. For showing the other type of partner clip. I was going to get to it later in the video, but I might actually have a good... pre-made save for it. Where is this at? This might be what I want. Okay, this is exactly what I want. So I'm going to show the other type of partner clip, which doesn't use pillars. So another way you can use a partner clip is you can have a roof and an angled surface like this column stuck into the ground here. And you can use your partners to summon him against that angled roof and again push yourself through the ceiling. Now again, you can sit here and keep resummoning your partner over and over again until you find the spot, but there's an easy way you can set these up. If you ever see a spot like this, you can summon your partner and you're going to move. I went way too fast. You're going to move over, and when you enter a location where you and your partner don't fit, the game right there, the game will drop the partner for you because you guys just don't fit anymore. So you go until the game drops your partner. I accidentally grabbed him. So you're going to move over until the game drops Getty. Resummon him. That'll always push you through the ceiling. So I have Getty, move over, and I move over, right there, summon. You get pushed through the ceiling, you're free to move out of bounds. So that is a consistent way to always set up one of these angled roof partner clips. Alright, so the next trick I'm going to be talking about is the new Advent out of bounds skip that is really only used in all bosses, but it's to replace the old style box clip trick we used to do in the run. Anyways, so you're going to, when you load into Advent here, you're just going to fly up past these pirates. This guy doesn't matter. And the first thing you got to do is you have to get caught by these guys. So now he's caught. This is so he can start throwing bombs at you. And what you're going to do once you're caught is you're going to fly over to this box and barrel to the right. Get in between the wall and the box and get hit by a bomb. And you'll get pushed out of bounds. Now the pirates will lose sight of you. And you're able to go around freely. So another trick we're going to talk about that actually just appeared in my mind is Waterfall Skip. This is possible on controller, but I play with the keyboard in front of me, and I do switch to the keyboard to do Waterfall Skip because it is very tricky. I'll go to Out Temple and I'll get to the waterfall as fast as I can. And you'll just be able to kind of see here how zips kind of can get strung together to get me somewhere very quickly without, you know, I'm the midpoint of Owl Temple in a matter of a couple seconds. So, if if you've played the game before, you know you cannot fly in the water. If you're flying, you enter water, the game forces you down. So, you know, if you're normally playing this game, you have to turn off this waterfall to advance. But this is very simple, and I'll show it out here so you can see the inputs on the controller. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to rapidly tap up and a direction, whether that be left or right, while in a flying state. So simply rapidly tap those two buttons and you'll climb up the waterfall. So you're seeing I'm rapidly tapping the two buttons and I'm able to fly through the waterfall. Again, like I just showed, this is completely possible to be done on controller, but it is much more comfortable to do on a keyboard. So this allows you to, you know, essentially skip nice portions of Owl Temple. Owl Temple is the only place that is used. I hope I didn't just lie. No, Owl Temple is the only place that's ever used, but it's very simple. Again, you're just rapidly tapping up in a direction and you can climb up a waterfall like that. Okay, we've gotten most of the bad stuff out of the way. So, now I can talk about early Twig and Twig talk. Let's see if I've got a good save for this. As you can tell, I'm very prepared for this. Mesa's Corridor. This should be what I want. So, as you'll see when you're doing runs, there's a glitch called early Twig, where you're going to get out of bounds and, you know, you're essentially going to go to Twig through the exit of Mesos through the out of bounds. Which the entrance is, there's these 9 guys out of bounds here, and the right one is an entrance to Mesos. So whenever you do this early Twig, it kind of breaks Twig in Mesos. And he's always going to stay in a cutscene state because he didn't get to play all his cutscenes because we didn't come in the right way. So what he'll do from now on when you summon him is he'll want to talk to you to trigger the cutscene. And Otis will move to the right. So he's in this, basically this position he's in now with Twig, where they're standing side by side. Whenever Twig is doing that and Otis is moving, the game is ignoring all boundaries, all walls. It's just trying to move you into position. So if we're next to something, so see, we can't, this is a wall, we can't go any further. But if we summon Twig, you notice he wants to talk. You know, no other partner, Getty's not going to talk to us, he's going to grab. But Twig wants to talk, and if we talk, we're going to move to the right, and if we skip his text, we walked through the wall, and now we're out of bounds. So, Twig talking is a very basic form of out of bouncing, but it also can be used to go inbounds. So if you were playing 100%, you would be navigating Mesos using this Twig, because he will stay like this forever in Mesos. So we can summon him again, talk, through another wall. And now come over here, summon Twig, talk, through another wall. So using Twig talk, you can pretty much go anywhere in Mesos. But yeah, that is a very easily done out of bounds. I don't even know where I'm at. We're just gonna reload. So if you were doing a normal run, you would clip out of bounds here and you'd go into Mothership. And I'm just gonna tear through Mothership really fast because there is a big skip we have to talk about in Mothership, which is the Mothership Skip, the Explosive Skip. It has a couple names, but the main point is we're gonna skip like half of Mothership. And I'm gonna try and focus on the controls, so I'll talk about kind of what's going on ahead of time, because this can be very, very confusing. Basically, Twig has a grapple ability where you can grapple objects to you, like, you know, those bombs, the air vents, all sorts of items. And what we're going to do is we're going to grapple one of the air vents from within. So one of these air vent covers, we're going to grapple one of those from within the air vent. Now that's not supposed to fit in there. So the game is going to immediately, you know, the game's going to want to be like, drop that, that doesn't fit in here. And so you're holding Twig, who's holding an object, and the game just said drop everything. So at this point, the game is very confused as to what's going on, because you're holding objects, but it thinks you're not. And we're going to be using this to perform some weird stuff to get out of bounds. Probably have a nice save for this somewhere, but again, this is very impromptu. So I really hope this video isn't too confusing. Okay, so this is the vent in question. Yeah, you can see me, that's nice. There's a button in that vent. In case one of those guys ever sees you, there's a button in that vent. There's actually a lot of people that don't realize that. But, so, at this spot, you see I've got a nice open ground under me. So I can summon Twig. He'll fit in here. Though, you know, I can't go left because he's not supposed to fit in these vents. Now if I aim at this vent to my left, web it, and pull it to me. Now I've got two options, web and grab. Alright, so you can already tell something's up. Like, I'm holding two objects, yet it says grab. So at the point I pulled that vent to me, again, the vent's not supposed to fit, so the game said drop everything. So it thinks I'm holding nothing right now. But I'm holding Twig, and I'm holding a vent. So let's press, the next step you'll do from here, you haven't moved yet, you just pull the vent, press the grab button. Nothing's going to look like it happened, just the dialogue's going to disappear. Now, you'll know you're in a weird state. You can see we're leaving the vent behind, and we can fit in here with Twig now. The game doesn't think we have Twig. The game doesn't know what's up anymore. It thinks we're normal. I mean, Twig's kind of through the ground here. Our whole Y position is screwed up, and that's the key to this. So now, we're not holding something, but we are. So what if we grab something else? So come over here to where this hook is in the ground, and you're going to use Twig's grapple ability to grapple to the hook. Now that you're holding the hook, you're going to press the grab button. For me, that is left trigger. I believe that should just be left click on the mouse, and hold down. And you can, it's just as easy as that. You slide, it still thinks we're holding something, aka the hook. So in that moment of grabbing something but not really and holding down, it's trying to figure out what's going on, and we can, you know, kind of sneak through the floor. From this point, you know, we can continue with the route as intended. And you're going to grapple over to this point, where this is right here, right where this weird, like, shaded spot, where this little step, that's the word I'm looking for, step in the background is the trigger for where Alphonse will join you in Mothership. This is kind of getting into the route, but it's all part of the Mothership Skip. Then you come over to this part where you see saved and reloaded, and you've essentially skipped a ton of Mothership because you don't have to, you know, go through all the mess of getting Alphons. By doing that skip, we can get Alphons all on our own. So that is the Mothership Skip. Again, trying to explain like what is going on game-wise is very tricky, but the important thing is that you're grabbing that vent from within, pressing grab again, flying to that hook, grapple the hook with Twig, then you press the let go button while holding down. The let go and the grab button are the same. So the let go or the grab button and hold down and you'll just sink through the floor. That one might take a bit of practice to fully understand what's happening and to not, you know. And again, the inputs I said, you don't want to do any extra inputs. You don't want to grapple anything. You don't want to, you know, hit anything. You just want to go straight to that hook and do the grapple grab down. Okay, Mothership is down. The last two skips we're going to talk about are in space. And, yeah. First one's, why don't we do the easy one first? Yeah, we're gonna do the easy one first. We'll save the worst for last, or the best for last if you like very challenging tricks. So we need Tower of the Owls Library. Rising debris is just out of reach. So I'm gonna have to do a bit of walking here. I don't have a good enough save for where I want to be, but we are going to be doing the Autoscroller skip. So as you know, at the end of this whole space library section, there is a little autoscroller where, you know, you have to fly up, jumping on rocks, avoiding obstacles, whatnot. And it's got some really nice music. It's about 2 minutes in length. But there's actually a way you can skip that. So we're going to get there. This can be very annoying because the game can decide to spawn a rock on the bottom path just as you're going through the door. And there's just nothing you can do about that. So I'll talk about an interesting little piece of movement here while we're going around. This is really kind of, most people only say this is relevant on controller, but this is what's known as spin dashing. Basically by pressing the spin button and the roll button at the exact same time while not holding any direction, just facing a direction, you can kind of get this weird sliding spin motion. Again, it's not like super fast, so it's almost kind of just for style. So we're just going to the Autoscroller here, and I will show the Autoscroller skip. I've got a much better save for the last skip. This was actually, at the time I'm making this, this is a fairly newer skip found. Okay, so at the end of this long bridge is the Autoscroller, basically. It's right after the statue. When you roll onto that bridge, it's going to break off, rise up, and a cutscene will play. As a good indication of where that begins, there are 7 of these statues before the cutscene begins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's where the cutscene will begin. Now, if you kind of look where I'm standing on the bridge, there's these, you know, little pillars. There's two, and then this third one in front of me is a little taller. When you pass this taller pillar on the kind of handleway of this bridge, that's where the bridge is going to break off. And you want to jump away. You have a small amount of time where you can jump off before it locks you into the cutscene. Normally it will freeze your movement and lock you in. But if you can get right to that long pillar and jump off, you can, and then you'll jump back on. It will, you never got locked into the cutscene, so the game will simply just skip it. It's very odd. So you're gonna come up, you see, jump away, and just hang out here on the right side. Now when you get in here, if you skip the cutscene, ta-da, you're magically at Solace's tower. It's getting the timing of where the cutscene begins can be tricky, but again, all you have to do is just jump to the right and hang out on the right side of the bridge there, and you completely can skip the autoscroller. And when you skip the cutscene, you just end up in Solace's tower instead of that 2-minute kind of autoscroller section with the really cool music. So that's Autoscroller Skip. That is relevant in 100% and the no out of bounds categories. So the final trick that I'm going to be explaining is called Library Skip, and this is going to allow you to skip most of the Tower of the Owls section of the game. This is why it's called Library Skip, was there used to be a trick called Library Skip, which was kind of similar to this, but it was very difficult, and this is a newer method that was found to avoid that. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna get on this platform right here, and you're gonna stand, you know, as far right as you can on the platform. If you aren't right enough, you'll hit those spikes, and you don't want to hit those spikes. So stand to the far right, and what you're going to do is you're going to spin this platform as high as you can go, and you'll see that you will hit a set of spikes in the roof. You want to hit those spikes, and what that's going to do is that's going to send Otis through this series of getting hit. This is going to hit like 4 or 5 times, and it's going to pop you out of bounds. Once you do that, you're going to press up, either keyboard or controller. Wait for the flash of light that would signal that, like, you know, you can't fly anymore. And on controller, you'll press X and then up again. On keyboard, you will right click and press up. And then you will repeat this over and over again, and you will see the result. So I'm going to spin this up, and I get hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Press up, flash of light, X up, X up, X up, X up, and you see that you're just constantly gaining height. Now you have to wait till the flash of light, or you fall. So you don't want that to happen. Another thing to note is, basically, if there's anything you want to do, you have to wait till after the flash of light. So if you want to control it by moving left or right, 1, 2, 3, 4, up, X up. You want to wait till the flash of light, then turn around, and then you can go in one direction. If you press over before the flash of light, you fall. So basically, if you do anything before the little flash of light, you will lose the trick and fall down. So in full motion, the trick and where it's used in the speedrun will be as follows. Stand on the right, spin up, hit the spikes, wait until you're free from getting hit, then press up. And you want to go X up or right click up, X up. Around here, I like to turn around a bit, because you need to get around this little bend. And you're free. and then all you have to do is hit a little checkpoint there, and you've skipped a whole bunch of stuff. And then you continue from here and do the Autoscroller skip that was shown before. But that's library skip. Pretty straightforward. Just get in there and try it. It's actually very easy and hard to mess up. But I mean, that is the gist of the glitches in Owlboy that you'll need to do a speedrun. Again, if anything was way too confusing in this video, please let me know. I will happily, you know, make another video about something, say, okay, food zips are a little confusing, let's go over it again, or even edit this one. But this is mainly, though, and again, maybe you didn't understand how something went, but this is kind of just, again, I want this to be a reference video, so when you're wanting to learn a run, and you're saying, what is a turnaround zip? I don't get it. You can go, okay, let's go watch the food zip section again. And you can see me blab on about, oh, press left while you're facing right, and you do a turnaround. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, let me try that. Again, my biggest thing here, if some stuff didn't make sense, just get out there and try it. I mean, it's much more simpler than it sounds. You do it once or twice, you're gonna get what I mean. I hope I didn't confuse any keyboard mouse players, because I don't play on keyboard mouse. I don't know the controls. I've never played on keyboard mouse. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And thanks for watching. I hope it helped.